collectible. What we really wanted to do is to find a company that can help us to project out your showroom. Imagine, there's these hologram cube thing. Imagine your whole entire showroom in 3D in that little cube, and it's got layers of it. We're looking for something more immersed, something that will bring a wow effect. And most importantly, right now, all those things are very costly, um, and it requires a lot of programming. So we're looking for something that can be interoperable with your mobile phone. You can just plug it in the Bluetooth and send it out there just for really showing, not really sending out your private key or the blockchains, really just projecting that.
Like you walk into a ride at Disney World, right? You walk into one of their major rides. When you get off the ride, what do you walk into? A gift shop, right? Well, this is the idea. We have a experience, and then all of a sudden, you don't walk into a gift shop, you walk into a showroom, you walk into a drop, and that experience you can take with you. I think that's the secret sauce down the road to some extent. This is a commitment that has to continue to roll. My own dream for VeVe, which is just my dream, is that VeVe becomes a marketplace for a lot of things, and not just digital collectibles, but it could be experiences. There's a whole litany of things that VeVe could represent that could offer to a collectible universe. It's not limited to just digital collectibles. It could be movies, it could be television shows, it could be all kinds of things that are collectible, but aren't necessarily not just, but in addition to what we're doing currently. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of exciting things, like I said, that we've identified that that I think are going to be fun. But I think I see this as a real lifestyle brand, and it's like when somebody said this is the Netflix of digital collectibles, I think we're far greater than that. I think we're far greater than that. I think we have a much more. We're the Walmart of digital collectibles, because we're going to have more things and more stuff, and and more ability to present things to you than you have in a big store. So I think that's my hope. But it also gives you the ability to take it with you if you want to share that. And I'm sure down the road, I'm not going to give away any secrets, but under when you start seeing what else is being evolved, you're going to get inside that app. You're going to take your friends inside that app. You're going to be able to actually have experiences, which if you did that in a real environment, you'd have to have a theater or a warehouse. So I think that's a funny bit, but especially if you think about Asia, Japan, China, big cities where they live in apartments. So I think there's a lot of this consolidation that you can get with VeVe and still not lose the essence of what you're trying to do. I think to Dan's point, not only will the technology grow, but the experience of being in the story. And then, because you imagine owning a piece of the story, you really own it. And I think the game playing world allows the kids to own that.
We were talking to some of the largest companies yesterday with technology providing how to enhance the experience. Myself, what I'm looking for most to it is obviously we have a big commitment with this Marvel release coming out, and hopefully by end of this year. And that commitment with that experience is really going to drive huge adoption. Our job is to ensure that our teams, we have enough staff and resource to make this happen. Because now we got big corporation expecting us to navigate and taking and leading these new industry into it. So I'm very excited in every aspect, but my biggest thing is all about experience. What will a collector want to collect if it wasn't digital? What will make them want to not just purchase it, but to share, to brag about it? I mean, I often still pick up the comics books I have signed by Stan Lee or Jim Lee, all these people who draw my memorable superhero that when I grew up. And what makes that product want people to show it off. And that's what we want to continue for my aspiration side of thing.
I also wanted to show you guys these. Someone asked me about some of my collectibles. These aren't as crazy as you guys would think, but I love this artist. Jonathan Adler. I have a lot of Jonathan Adler pieces, as you can see. These are all Jonathan Adler, even this one. I don't really want to mess with that. But like, I could show you this one. These are all Jonathan Adler. All these pieces, like I love this one too. But yeah, I'm really showing these for, in case David Yu sees the video, because I know David Yu loves Jonathan Adler. I seen one of David's. So look, yeah, it's like, they thought I asked for coronavirus flowers. We live in a time, it holds us and molds us, by Julian Barnes. So you can see here, it's like, someone comments like, hey, is that Jonathan Adler? And then David Yuns is like, J.A., 5%, I'm gonna have to cut this short. So David Yuns is like, J.A., yes, Jonathan Adler, 100%. Then someone else is like, hey, is that Jonathan Adler? And then he's like, yep, RMG becomes the Asian distributor. We've had it at our showroom store. And then they're like, okay, I want mines. So David Yuns, I just wanted to show you that I'm a big collector of, it was pretty cool to see that he had these Jonathan Adler pieces, because I'm a big collector of Jonathan Adler. And, you know, I'm pretty spot on with these. I love these pieces. That's just to give you guys an example of a couple things that I collect, but yeah. And I'm sure you guys have seen her work before, but she's amazing. So yeah, there's the Banksy. Let's jump back into that. There's the Banksy.
This was from an old Medium article. Now, they've since got rid of this on the Medium article, incidentally. So if you go and look for it now, you won't find it. Now, I know Crypto Crayons, I believe, he put out a thing about this, sort of like redigging it back up again, essentially. And then Cavill did a video of Crypto Crayons, etc., basically explaining it again. And basically what it is this is a thing that nobody really paid much attention to it, because it essentially said, here's some examples of what could be in the app. And basically, if you look at the digital art and music section, I was looking at it and I was saying, okay, well, there's no way that we're going to have Banksy and Andy Warhol in the same thing anyway. So therefore, I think we can safely say this is just used as an example.
Because of these street artists, like a lot of, I don't know if you guys know, but a lot of the Banksy pieces, if Banksy like graffitied on the side of a building, they would literally go in and cut out the brick wall. They'd cut out that whole brick wall and then take it to a museum and then post it up in a museum. So that would be interesting. If we did get Banksy pieces, I'm curious to see, like, would we actually get, you know, to have like a big 3D wall in the middle of our space? Something like this, you know what I mean? Another Banksy style piece would be awesome if we could get something like this, right? Where, and this actually is rotatable. You can see it's 3D, but that'd be dope to get a 3D version of one of Banksy's 2D pieces. You know what I mean? We could come up on that and check it out, but yeah. And then look, we'll have that there, like a Banksy NFT would literally be out of this world. But like I was saying, with a lot of these street artists, it seems like, you know, I'm just curious to know, how would we get these Banksy pieces? Would they actually be, if we were to get Banksy, you know what I mean? I did see something in the past that had Banksy's name on it. And I'll see if I can pull that up and show you guys. But this is what I'm curious to see, right? If we get a Banksy piece, let me let this load up. So if we get a Banksy piece, right? And because this is the kind of stuff that he'll do. He'll like put a stencil and then he'll put the bricks there and have something like someone sweeping underneath, right? So this is just like the Barbie dream house I showed you guys. I don't know if you missed that video, but you should check it out. So imagine us getting a full-on like building like this, right? And it's scalable, so we can just scale it up. I could actually place it right here, right? But anyhow, that was a question that I had. It was like, okay, well, would we get some things like this if we got a Banksy piece? Will we get the actual Banksy? Will we get a piece of the wall? Will we get the whole building that it was on? Since we're already on the artist alley, let's go ahead and look at two guys that are best friends. This was Jean-Michel Basquiat as well as Andy Warhol, both rest in power. First, we'll look at For the Tired, the Poor, and the Huddled Masses. Jean-Michel Basquiat, December 22nd, 1960 to August 12th, 1988. He actually died of a heroin overdose, if you guys don't know that story. So since these artists are so, you know, world-renowned, we think that we couldn't get them, and especially someone like Banksy or Warhol, Basquiat. But Basquiat, Warhol, they have foundations. These things are sold in gift stores at museums. So anything that you can see in a gift store, I'm pretty sure that we could probably get our hands on. So yeah, here's a simple spray can, New York New Wave, with the artwork of Basquiat on it. And then it's a Montana spray can. If anybody knows about graffiti, Montana, 5%, gotta get going. If anyone knows about spray cans, Montana is a pretty good one. I spent a lot of time in that Montana store. Especially the handheld ones, like when you could get a small can like that. You know what I mean? You could get a quick hit up. Anyhow, I love graffiti, as you guys can see. But then it'll have a story on the back, breaking down a description of, like this. Let's go ahead and read it. Jean-Michel Basquiat is one of the most famous artists of his generation. Before starting his career as an artist, he produced punk-style postcards for sale on the street and became known for his political poetic graffiti called Samo. I know I said we were only doing 2 artists, but since that image had Keith Haring in there, I can't forget about Keith Haring. That whole 80s art scene, especially with like Studio 54, all of that stuff was, you know, they were all in the same mix. Warhol, Basquiat, Keith Haring. So Artist Alley would be awesome to get. As you can see here, it's a mixture of a famous Basquiat piece, and then one of the Keith Haring pieces, but Keith Haring in a box, basically. So yeah, something like this would be pretty awesome. Just to show you guys, give you a quick rotation. Looks like a regular Keith Haring piece, but it's not. You can actually get close in it. Let's actually move it closer. Okay, so I could actually get close, get inside of here, you know. Check these out. It's an actual 3D Keith Haring. So, like portal boxes, basically. And this is like an aspect of the artwork that has never been really accessible. So, it's not like they're just going to be recycling pieces that we've already seen. We'll actually get to experience these pieces in a different style, and it'll be like in a 3D box like that. Anybody that knows the Warhol artwork, this is one of his famous pieces, the Campbell's chicken noodle soup can. So that could be something that we could get from Warhol. So like some Andy Warhol inspired pieces from the, maybe like from the Andy Warhol Foundation, where, you know, we could maybe get things like, you know, pieces like this to actually deck out one of our galleries, or to actually put into a warehouse and walk around. Because, I mean, this is small, but as you guys know, I can scale this up and make it pretty huge, and then walk up there, walk around, go close to the pieces, and check those out. But I guess I wasn't wrong. He did do a chicken noodle version. But yeah, so yeah, if you guys didn't know, that's where that piece came from, and things like that. So, okay, some more Keith Haring inspired pieces. Okay, so I didn't want to go too crazy. So, as you can see, these all connect to each other. I really just wanted to show you another Keith Haring piece of art, and then it just so happens to be printed on another. You know, I can't show you this Keith Haring piece of art without showing you without telling you about, you know, the Money and Kid Robot. So I just have to, I don't want to jump into Kid Robot, and then when I jump into Kid Robot, there's certain pieces that Kid Robot has, like, and they actually have swimming pool floaters that's inspired by Jeff Koons, you know, with the circus balloon art and the animal balloons, the balloon animals, I mean. So then I just get into this whole rabbit hole, literally a rabbit hole, a labbit hole, in showing you guys all those pieces. So what I'll do, this is a part 1, and tomorrow, I have a lot of other work to do, a lot of commission artwork to finish, but tomorrow I will, with my main job, one day I'll expose to you guys who I am, and you can see some of my amazing artwork, and I can't wait for that day to come. But I have to get to a bunch of commissions tomorrow, so later on in the afternoon, I'll do a video dedicated solely to Kid Robot, augmented reality, and I'll show you guys some awesome pieces that we should see coming to Artist Alley. Speculation. Okay, take care.
I haven't spoke to Hebrew. I should message him. I did get that 250-meter tall flyboy, and I own every flyboy design out there, and a lot of his work as well. Maybe I should reach out to him. But definitely, we do have another artist we'll be announcing in coming weeks.
Over here, there. Then let's rotate it. Yeah. So yeah, there you have it. This is a Hebrew piece. with the actual flyboy. This is a painting of his. Let you guys see up close. So we could probably get some paintings. We'll probably get the 3D physical flyboys, the ones that you hear David, you talking about. But yeah, this guy's work is awesome, and he's I think he's from Chicago as well. So, all right, we could do a straight up wall. You know, a couple different options. You want to just have a straight up wall inside your pad, like that, freestanding wall. Let me go ahead and move this over here and rotate it. So yeah, I could have a freestanding wall, or I can remove it and do it like that. I might show some Frank Kozik, might show some Kid Robot. Definitely going to show some Munnies, M-U-N-N-Y, and then you guys can look them up yourself, see exactly what they are. Go to Kid Robot website, you'll see them all. So let's start with this. Okay. I'm going to show 3 at a time just to keep it moving. So that's the Shaman Master right there. I like the Dreamcatcher. That's similar to the other one I showed you guys, but there's so many different renditions of this very. So yeah, this balloon style, I will tell you this, the style of her floater that she has, that's based off of the Jeff Koons, the balloon animals, Jeff Koons. Jeff Koons also did the famous Michael Jackson statue with bubbles. It was like, it was white and gold, I think, made out of balloons. This guy, Jeff Koons, he pretty much pioneered that whole movement. So this is like one of his more popular ones, and a lot of people actually copy this piece. A lot of different artists got this style from him. They actually have, there's a lot of like paintbrush style art that's in this same vibe. But yeah, this is basically what it is. But one of his most famous pieces is tulips, right? And tulips is like a bouquet of these balloon style flowers that are super huge, over-exaggerated, and they're public displays globally now. But I'm in Los Angeles, so I went, and the first time I actually seen them in person was at the Broad Museum. I actually wanted to save this Tulips by Jeff Koons. I wanted to save this one until I went out into a park or something, because I'm going to show you guys some fully immersive stuff, but we'll need a bigger space, which is what I think that Alfred Kahn was referring to. But this piece, Tulips by Jeff Koons, is a very popular piece, very well-known, and it's actually larger than life. The real piece is larger than life. I'm sure in the gift shops at museums, they'll probably sell small versions or something like that. But the real version is like literally on some, like, the real version is literally like this. It's like, no joke. No joke. The real version is like this big. And maybe even bigger, honestly. But it's cool. It's like unreal when you see it in person. But yeah, that's something that we could see. Jeff Koons is an awesome artist. Yeah, so we could probably see, I don't know, I think we're definitely going to see KAWS coming to, I think we're definitely going to see KAWS coming. It's like this guy. I like this one. This is the gold and black version. I'd love to get this one, the matte black with the shiny gold X's. But that's another KAWS piece. So yeah. So this piece would be very awesome, like the KAWS protector, right? To have something like that. And a piece he actually has pieces this big, right? That people have in their homes. But it'd be awesome to own one, an officially licensed one. I just want to give you guys a look at some other kind of KAWS pieces. His work is very well known. He has, as far as his collectors go, there isn't a celebrity, especially in the urban entertainment industry, that doesn't own a KAWS piece. Like Pharrell Williams has huge pieces. Skateboarders have huge pieces. Jay-Z has huge pieces of KAWS. KAWS is like super collected.
um, there are really things that you could never have except digitally. And what's that mean? Well, it means, for instance, the guy just sold the code for the original internet, program for $5 million, right? $5.2 million. But there's a lot of things like that David and Dan and I are thinking about, in some cases have acquired, which are really fascinating experiences that you could never in a million years own. You couldn't own it because, number one, there's only one of them. And number two, they would be so expensive that you'd never be able to have that. So it's like, think about if you have a Picasso print, you have a Picasso print and the Picasso is $100 million, but the print by itself is still worth, $150,000. Well, think about that kind of layering with regard to physical objects or physical experiences. I mean, we've identified a whole slew of things that we're now in process of trying to acquire that can be really fabulous because they are so rare and they are so unique and they are so interesting. So there's a whole litany of things we can do.
Yeah. The rarity and the scarcity, obviously, from the collectible side is one of our value propositions to be able to provide with a digital asset now. But also as a platform to be able to bring so many brands and different properties into one place.
I don't know if you guys seen the movie or remember this, but this is a piece that I believe that could come to VeVe, which would be awesome. A piece from Banksy. You could actually go inside, right? This is like something that we would never be able to do in real life, right? Go inside the Banksy phone booth. But anyhow, this is something I think we could see come. If you ever saw Exit Through the Gift Shop, there's a whole storyline behind this piece. This is a public install that Banksy did. He came in this London phone booth. He unscrewed the London phone booth, put it on a flatbed, took it back to his warehouse, cut it in half, and then put it back together, painted blood dripping on it, put an axe in it, and welded it all back together, and then went and dropped it back off in the same spot, but laid it on the ground. So that was like one of his installs. So when I was talking about like the Banksy stuff, if you guys in that same documentary with Shepard Fairey, or the documentary about Banksy and the street art, Shepard Fairey is in that documentary as well. Mr. Brainwash. Another one of the artists is Space Invader. I actually have a Space Invader piece. Dan, holler at me. If you want an official Space Invader, let me know. It is very official. It is very, very official. So anyhow, let me show you. And I don't want to get into that, how I actually got it, but check this out. When you think of, when I was talking about like how these artists actually do their pieces, right? They go out into the city. They end up, vandalizing. A lot of these artists, a lot of these famous street artists actually have done some jail time for vandalism of property, destruction of property. And they continue to do the work. So that's why it's so epic. But imagine being able to get a scene like this, right? And this is Shepard Fairey's main piece that he started with for the Obey brand. This is actually his rendition of Andre the Giant. If you guys are ever into wrestling, that's who that really is. It's Andre the Giant. So if you never knew where that logo came from, that's what it was. But wheat pasting is when you take a roll of, you mix your own glue, flour and water is how because you need a lot of glue. So a lot of people started making their own glue. And Shepard Fairey actually put out videos on how to make your own wheat paste, and that's kind of catapulted a lot of stuff as well. But we would go out and we'd glue up on the wall, take our roller, we'd roll the glue on the wall, then we'd take our big print and we would actually roll the print on the wall. So for something to make it up here at the top of a building, you'd literally have to go up and scale it, you know what I mean? And then things like this, cops will usually pull up and then blurp you, and that's how you get destruction of property because it was usually right next to a storefront. So this right here, if you look close, this is a interpretation of that wheat paste process. This is Shepard Fairey putting up a piece in the middle of an alley, right? So this is pretty cool, right? So if we could get some stuff like this as a piece, it'll be completely separate from our gallery. It can be in our gallery, but then when we go out into a field or something, we can actually scale it up, and we can actually be right here where it's going down at. So let me go ahead and place this over here. Is that better? Let's do it over here. That's better. So look at this. So you can see this is like the pieces, and then down here you go down the street in front of the storefront. You can see like these Obey pieces. So this stuff would be super awesome. I think this is what David you meant when he was talking about, I mean, what's the guy, Alfred Kahn. I think this is what Alfred Kahn meant when he was saying that, you know, and having a warehouse. Literally, I can come in here and be in the midst of, you know, an illegal wheat place taking place. So then, let's go up here to the top. Let's scale the building. So just go upstairs. And you can look down on the scene. It's like, hey, what are you guys doing down there? Hey, I'm going to call the cops. That's illegal. You better take that down. Hey, you. Hey, you. Right? So I think this is what he meant by owning a piece of the scene. Hey, you better take that shit down. I'm going to call the cops. Hey, someone look at this guy. You know? So, yeah. Familiar, or if you're not familiar, Obey, that's his brand. That's Shepard Fairey's brand. And to give you a little history of Shepard Fairey, and let's go ahead and rotate that up here. I got some Obey stuff too. But to give you a little history on Shepard Fairey, what happened with Shepard Fairey, how he actually kind of took off, was his hope piece for Obama. He was actually commissioned by the Obama, to be a part of the Obama campaign, to create the branding and advertising for the Obama campaign. And this is, I'm sure a lot of you guys remember this piece. Let's go ahead and put it here, sorry. Okay, scale it down. So this is a 2D piece. It'd be cool if we could actually see something like this. I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I understand the importance of this piece. So that would be cool to actually own an original of that. But he's came out with so many pieces prior to this level of his career. But to give you guys an example of more of who Shepard Fairey is and what happened, he was, before he got commissioned for this piece, he was also a well-known street artist. Definitely was making a lot of paper. But what Shepard Fairey did with this is he showed street artists to be exact, that, you know, you can go from getting vandalism charges and public destruction charges, destruction of property, spending time in jail, where our art is looked at, the street art is looked at as trash, it's looked at as graffiti, it's looked at as, you know, it's not looked at as art. It was never looked at as fine art. And I think that was a cool thing that Banksy started doing. Shepard Fairey, when he came out with this piece, when he actually got commissioned to do this, it took him to another level. It started to make his career he became a commercial artist. He was actually being commissioned by a political party, or by politicians or whatever to help market a campaign. And then Obama ended up winning, and then that whole thing went crazy. And then if you're into advertising like I am, I worked in the advertising field as well. And Shepard Fairey is the one that actually got me into that field. But the agencies behind this whole campaign are pretty, you know, they're super, super legit, and I always wanted to work with those guys. So that was a dream come true. But a crazy thing that happened, I want to just put this up here with the rest of my collectibles just to show. A crazy thing that happened was this. When this happened and he dropped this, and he started to take off, right? He started to have pieces in museums and things like that. People were actually calling him a sellout. They were like, oh, he sold out, he's going mainstream, blah, 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 blah. And they weren't really, they didn't really support that. But then what really happened is he showed other street artists that you can do it. You know, you can go into an ad agency, you can take your art, as long as you're willing to design according to a brand guideline and a thick-ass book that says what you can and cannot do. As long as you're willing to put your creative talents to that, you can still have some kind of free control and free reign. So that's what Shepard Fairey, awesome artist, definitely something we could see coming to the VeVe-verse, or the VeVe Artist Alley. It's like one of the biggest icons in Japan. All right, let's go ahead and read it from here. Wait. So this is something that we can see coming, right? So we have I don't know if you guys know, but there are, I believe, 7 in total Ultramans, different kinds of Ultramans. And I could be wrong, but I know there could be more, but I do believe that there's 7. But this is on David's page. This is one of the OG Ultramans, and you can tell by their like static pose that they do with their hands, the different kinds. But this is something I think that we could see coming. The one that we have so far is this one, right? More of the updated version. But the OG Ultraman is this guy. And this is one of the biggest icons in Japanese pop culture. Also my favorite, hint, hint, hint. Ultraman debuted in 1966, which is the OG version, right? This one right here. The guy who actually created Godzilla created the Ultraman. So the Ultraman actually came in, and I believe he defeated Godzilla in one of the films. But they would actually use Ultraman to scale up in order to fight these big monsters. They had to actually turn into these different Ultraman characters. But Ultraman debuted in 1966 and is based on a manga series of the same name. Ultraman was released worldwide on Netflix. Is this cosplay or digital collectible?